always tell you that a blizzard is the quietest time to be alive, that the snow acts like a blanket, muffling the world until there's nothing left but your own breathing. For 21 years, I found that silence comforting. But 3 years ago, on a construction site in northern Pennsylvania, I learned that the silence isn't there to keep things quiet for you. It's there to hide the sound of something coming. I saw a man standing in a whiteout miles from the nearest road, wearing nothing but a short-sleeved shirt. But that wasn't the scary part. The scary part was when I looked down at the fresh, powdery snow between us and realized that while I was sinking neat into the drifts, he wasn't leaving a single footprint. This happened about 3 years ago when I was working as a night watchman for a construction site in a rural part of northern Pennsylvania. It was a massive plot of land, mostly cleared out for a new housing development, but surrounded by miles of dense, private woods. It was late December, and a dusting of snow had turned into a full-blown whiteout by midnight. I was stationed in a small, heated guard shack at the edge of the property. My job was simple: stay awake, check the perimeter every 2 hours, and make sure nobody stole the heavy machinery. Around 2 a.m., the wind died down, and the snow started falling in those huge, heavy flakes that make everything silent. I stepped out of the shack to do my rounds, my flashlight beam bouncing off the skeletons of half-finished houses. I was about halfway through my walk when I heard it. It was a whistle. A long, low, 3-note melody. It sounded like it was coming from the woods, maybe 50 yards to my left. I stopped and shined my light toward the tree line. Nothing but white. I figured it was just the wind catching a piece of PVC pipe on the site. So I kept walking. A few seconds later, the whistle happened again. This time, it was closer. And this time, it was followed by a voice. "Hey, buddy, you got a light?" It sounded like an older man, totally calm, like we were standing on a street corner in the middle of the day. I turned my light back to the woods. Standing just behind a thin oak tree was a man. He wasn't wearing a coat. He was in a dirty button-down short-sleeve shirt and slacks. He was just standing there, hands in his pockets, despite it being 15 degrees out. I told him the site was private property and that he needed to head back to the main road. He didn't move. He just stared at me with this blank, pleasant expression that made my skin crawl. "I'm lost," he said. "My car is just up that hill. Can you help me push it?" Now, there were no roads up that hill. That direction led deeper into a swampy part of the forest where no car could ever go. Primera told him I couldn't leave my post, but I could call the local police to come assist him. The second I mentioned the police, his expression changed. His face didn't get angry. It got heavy, like the muscles just quit working. His jaw dropped open, and he started walking toward me. But he wasn't walking normally. He was taking these massive, lunging strides, his arms swinging wildly at his sides. I didn't think. I turned and ran back to the guard shack. I could hear his boots crunching in the snow behind me. I made it inside, slammed the door, and locked Italiano. I grabbed my phone to call my supervisor, but I kept my eyes on the window. The man didn't try to break in. He just stopped about 10 feet away and started doing that 3-note whistle again. He circled the shack, whistling that same tune over and over. Then he did something that still haunts me. He walked over to one of the brand new 400-pound crates of roofing shingles. He reached down, and with one hand, he flipped the entire crate over like it was made of cardboard. He looked at the shack, smiled, and then just walked back into the woods. When the sun came up and my relief arrived, we went out to look at the tracks. There were my footprints, clear as day, but where the man had been standing, there were no shoe prints. There were just deep circular indentations in the snow, almost like someone had been walking on stilts or poles. And the crate of shingles, it hadn't been flipped. It had been crushed downward, as if something incredibly heavy had stepped on top of it. I quit that job the next morning. I don't know who or what was out in those woods, but I realized that my little heated shack wasn't actually protecting me from anything.